So when I saw Gordon Ryan beat Cornelius, I was like, whoa, what the hell just happened? Like, I didn't know who Gordon Ryan was. And then, I jumped on the bandwagon. I was like, I'm going to go train with that guy one day.
Welcome to the GrayHawk DJC podcast. In today's podcast, we talk with Chris Ramirez, a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and the owner of Zero Dojo in Dallas, Texas. We hope you enjoy the podcast. Hey, Chris, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. Thanks for coming on the show, man.
I appreciate you having me on here.
Awesome. So you are a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Black Belt and the owner of a Jiu-Jitsu studio, right? Here in Dallas?
Correct.
All right. So that's awesome, first of all. But secondly, let's get to know you better. So take us back, where you're from, where you grew up. Give us a history about yourself.
I'm from Brazil. No, I'm just kidding. I would always tell people I'm from Brazil, and then like, no, you're not. So I would call my mom and be like, Mom, am I from Brazil? No, you're not. You're from Dallas. So she would never go along with my jokes.
Just do the whole thing in Portuguese.
Yeah, I'm just joking. Well, my name is Chris Ramirez. I'm from Dallas, Texas, born and raised my whole life. So you want to know where I started training and stuff like that, I guess?
What part of Dallas are you from?
Oak Cliff, originally.
Okay.
Oak Cliff.
Which high school? South Oak Cliff?
I went to W.H. Adamson.
Okay.
Adamson. Yeah,
Cool.
I went to Stockard, Adamson. Then I went to like 5 elementary schools because we moved around a lot.
Okay.
But yeah, I graduated from Adamson in 98.
So when did you get into jiu-jitsu?
Jiu-jitsu?
Yeah. Before jiu-jitsu, what happened?
Oh, before jiu-jitsu. Okay. So do you remember like the back in the day, the Kung Fu era when all the movies came out?
Absolutely.
Like 70s, 80s. And then I think that's also the rise of the blood and guts days and kickboxing, karate, remember those?
Yep.
That's when I got into martial arts. So I was 7. My uncles were all Bruce Lee fanatics. And, my grandma had like a little gym in the back. And like they would like, hey, come train. I'm like, no, I don't want to. Like, come train. Like, be like Bruce Lee. Like, oh, okay. So they started showing me how to like fight, lift weights, do weapons, nunchucks and stuff like that. And then like, oh, hey, tell your friends to come over. And like, okay. So then they were like, literally make a spar, like bare knuckle. Like,
you guys are punching each other.
We're punching each other, punching and kicking each other. And like this, I'm like 7 at the time. And then like after a while, my friends didn't want to come over. It's like, oh, your uncles make us fight. And then like, I think like the final straw with my mom was like, one of my friends got a black eye, and I had like a big old red bruise or something. And then my friend's mom called my mom like, oh, they're fighting. Like, I was like, what happened? Like, we're trained. Like, no, you can't train no more. So I didn't get to train for a couple of years, and then she finally put me like in like Taekwondo.
Okay.
So I actually got my black belt in Taekwondo first before I got into Jiu-Jitsu.
What did you think of Taekwondo when you first did it?
Well, I've always wanted to be a black belt, and like, and as a kid, I didn't really know there was like different styles. Like, I just thought martial arts was martial arts. I thought karate was karate. I didn't know there was Taekwondo, Kung Fu, Jeet Kune Do, and Muay Thai and all that.
Right.
It was when I started getting like older, like 12, 13. I the black belt magazines. I started buying those and buying different books. Oh, there's different styles. I it's like style from here, style from there. So I ended up getting my black belt in Taekwondo when I was like 18, and then I was maybe like right after the UFC, like 93, 94, the first UFC came out.
Did you do competition in Taekwondo?
I did a lot of competitions. I did a lot.
So this was serious. It wasn't just for fun. Yeah.
So I used to play baseball, and then I was a teenager, and then like, so I was like, it's either baseball or karate, because like sometimes the tournaments would be the same as the baseball games. I just couldn't do both. So I quit baseball and I started doing karate. So I would usually like every weekend I would have a competition, and then it would probably be like from January to maybe November, be like busy at least 1 or 2 a month. And so my mom would always take me, and and I would always do weapons, kata, and then sparring.
Okay.
Yeah, and I always did pretty well. I always placed first or second for everything. And then the UFC came out like in 93. And everybody's talking about it. Everybody's talking about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Like, what is that? Is that like, do you know what capoeira is?
Yeah.
So I thought it was like the same thing. Is that like capoeira? Is that like Brazilian? Is that the same thing? They're like, no, it's like you grapple. And I'm like, oh, it's like judo? They're like, oh, yeah, it's like judo. Like, they're trying to explain to me, and I hadn't seen the UFC yet. And then I finally we got a hold of one of the first VHS tapes. Like, oh, okay, that's pretty interesting. So I guess in 99, do you know who Guy Mesger is?
Yep.
So actually, that's when the whole beef with Tito Ortiz. Yeah, that was really big and stuff. And that's why I was like a big Lions Den fan. And he actually has a school here in Dallas. And I ended up, like, in 2000, I started training with him.
Oh, wow.
That's how I got into MMA.
So they were in Dallas?
Yeah, they're still in Dallas. They're still
okay.
Here. He's still in here. Ken Trimark would come down and train, and like Trey Taligman, Pete Williams, and all them, the original UFC guys. So I got to train at that gym for like 8-9 years. And then but before I trained there, I was like, yeah, you know Carlos Machado?
Yep.
So Carlos Machado, he had a gym too, and then Guy Messer had a gym. And I was like, man, do I want to be an MMA fighter or do I want to be a jiu-jitsu guy? So like I went to go try both of them out, and I ended up going with Guys because of the price, not really because not really because like I mean I like Guy Messer. He's a good guy. He's a good coach.
But he's more MMA than
he's
just
more
jiu-jitsu.
MMA.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, in my head I'm thinking, okay, look, I'll fight MMA, I'll do MMA or whatever, and then after I'm old, I'll go do jiu-jitsu.
Right.
And then so I started training with him, and I just like he teaches. At that time, he didn't teach jiu-jitsu. He taught submission wrestling. Mm-hmm. So I started competing submission wrestling for him, and I really liked that. Like, man, I should have just done jiu-jitsu. But was I going to pay $80 a month to do once a week jiu-jitsu with Carlos Machado? Mm-hmm. $80 to train with a guy and come 5-6 days a week unlimited. Right. So that's the main reason I went to Guy Mesger's. So I stayed there, and then I started doing a lot of jiu-jitsu tournaments. And at that time, there was like MMA was like banned in a lot of states.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And then Texas is like one of the last few states besides New York to get legalized. So there wasn't like a lot of opportunities. There was pancration, but a lot of times the fights would get canceled, people would pull out. So it wasn't like, unless you're like a big name, you couldn't really like do anything.
So you were actually a professional MMA fighter?
No. I never got to that point.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. So it was like we did like smokers and stuff like that, like exhibition fights, and then like. When other schools come in, you spar with other schools, a lot of that. But I like grappling better, and I was like, and I started thinking, I should have done jiu-jitsu. And and then I was actually like, he taught a lot of leg locks. So I was leg locking everybody before it became big like it is now.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, like he taught, that's the main thing.
Where did that come from? If that wasn't a big deal back in the day.
It wasn't from Sambo. Mm-hmm. The Sambo, Guy Mesger trained some Sambo, and that's what he would teach, like a lot of the leg locks. Okay. So,
were a lot of guys surprised by it because they weren't training for it? I guess.
Yeah, well, a lot of tournaments like they didn't let me do it, and like I never got there for the rules. I was just like, I'm gonna go and do this, and there'd be a few times where I go for a hook, and they're like, no reaping the knee. I didn't know what that was. Right. Like, nobody told me. Like, I just thought I can. So I would have to, like, go for a straight ankle lock or something. Mm-hmm. Like, you can't do that. And I finally figured out, what it meant. It's just, like, it was frowned upon in jiu-jitsu tournaments back in the day. So, okay. But I always placed first, second, or third in the tournament, so I was happy. So finally, like, in 2008, I ended up transitioning fully to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Okay. But I opened my first gym in 2007 in Richardson, Texas. So
let's get to that business side. So what made you want to start your own gym, I guess? Or how'd that come about?
Well, since I was a kid, like, my uncles got me start training and stuff. Like I was hesitant at first, and I didn't want to get hit and stuff. And then I ended up liking it. And I just said, I'm gonna be a black belt one day. Mm-hmm. And I went up in my own gym. So it's always been like since I was a kid, that's what I'm gonna do, and I just never stopped. Like I would always, like I didn't take no breaks from the time I started Taekwondo all the way to my black belt. It was always like keep going. I didn't want to stop. Like even like when it started getting harder, and it wasn't like my teacher wasn't like the teachers there. There's a lot of teachers today that just kind of give black belts away. Like right. You see little kids with black belts. Yep. And he wasn't like that. He was like he was on the blood and guts days. Mm-hmm. He's like, no, we're not gonna do that here. It took me like 10 years to get a black belt.
That's usually the average, right?
Yeah. That should be, but now it's like everybody gets like in 3-4 years.
Seriously?
Yeah, for karate and taekwondo, yeah. Okay. Right. It's like it's watered down so much over the years. That's why like, a lot of people make fun of it. So. Right. But. So, like, once I got that, like, I think when I was, like, I got my black belt, I started, like, sketching out my gym, how I was going to have it. Like, I'm going to have mats over here, punching bags. This is what I'm going to sell. And then when I finally had money and I started talking about opening the gym, that's when I a lot of my friends and like my cousins were like, I guess they believed in me.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were like, oh, I want to invest. Like, nah, like I can do it by myself. Like, no, like you don't have to pay us back. Just we believe in you enough to give you money to do this.
Oh, so you had yours, and then people helped you a little bit.
Yeah, a lot of people helped me.
Okay.
Like when I first opened, like I was actually surprised. Like I didn't ask people for money, but once they heard I was opening the gym, like 'cause I've been doing it for so long, I was teaching for other people, and I guess they're just like they wanted to be part of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like people that I didn't expect to. Like I had a couple of professors from SMU. I worked at SMU for a while. They're like, hey, I heard you up in the gym. Like, here, just hope this helps out. And they give me a check. Like, whoa.
Wow.
Yeah, and then like even like some students, like college students, like I worked in the lab, and they're like, hey, like you've been a good friend to me. Like, hope this helps. And they're like, what? So I was like shocked. Like people believed in my dream. So I got my first location in 2007.
How hard was it to find that new location?
Location, like I think that's the hardest part, is trying to find the right location. And I didn't know anything about demographics. I didn't know anything about finding your right clientele. Mm-hmm. I just thought, open a gym, people will come, yay.
Right.
And like, because I used to work for somebody else, and he had great success. So I like, okay, and I worked for him, and I saw how he did it, but I didn't realize like how the back office work he was doing. Like I would see him like on the computer all the time, I was doing that, and I just like, whatever, I'm not gonna do that. Like, I didn't think it was that important, but it is. So I didn't do my demographics properly, and the area that I chose was like a bunch of older people, so they didn't really have like young kids.
Where were you?
Richardson.
Okay.
Off of Arapahoe in 75.
Okay.
That time was like older people. Like now it's like there's actually a gym there now, and they're doing really well.
Okay.
The same shopping center I was at. Like, man, I was just too early.
You just laid the groundwork for them, right?
But like they're doing really well. I was just like, wow, I can't believe that used to be my spot. And then there's another gym down the street, another jiu-jitsu gym too. Like, man, that's crazy.
Was it Zero Dojo back then too?
No, we were it was Fusion MMA.
Okay.
Fusion Mixed Martial Arts.
Mm-hmm.
And then so ended up, like I said, I didn't do my research, and then I ended up having to close that location. But luckily, like one of my coaches, my kickboxing instructor, he hit me up. He's like, hey, I got a spot over here where we can, if you want to be like partners. So we went and we talked to the owner. So the guy has a gym, like a weight gym, mm-hmm. and then he has like a room, big or empty room, like I can teach in here or whatever. And then interesting story. It used to be Guy Mesker's old gym, and so we had the opportunity to go in there after Guy moved to Addison, and we went to talk to the guy. He's like, okay, yeah, we're good. We'll do a 60-40 split, because since he has to collect the money for us, we get to 60%, he gets 40%. That's cool. So like we start advertising it, and remember MySpace. So like, man, I had a lot of followers. My coach had a lot of followers. We're just like advertising. A lot of people were coming in, and then
what was this one called?
It was Fusion MMA.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like
you just moved locations.
Yeah. Just basically like this one was like shutting down, and at the same time this door opened. Like just kind of transitioned over. So it kind of worked out. So we went there, and we had a lot of students. Like we were there for like 5 months. And
how are you getting students? What's your advertising?
A lot of word of mouth, because like he had a good following, I had a good following. Like I've been teaching all over Dallas for since 97, and I was still in high school. I was like an assistant coach to I used to teach karate everywhere, like all over Dallas, different rec centers, different elementary schools. Mm-hmm. So I had like a lot of people like always ask, hey, if you open up somewhere, then tell me, and then I'll go with you. So that's how I got a lot of my students, and he's been around for a long time too.
What was the second one location?
It was off of 635 and 75 and Coit, there in that area. That's the gym. It's still, I think that gym's still there, but I'm gonna get to that part where he just kind of like screwed us over.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So students are coming in, and then like me and him are like always like going out to eat, talking business. And we start seeing some of our old students from like back in the day, like, oh, we're over here now. Like, so they start coming and sign up. Like, oh, we're glad y'all together again, because we still like he was my coach, and I would help like teach classes and stuff sometimes. And I think like by the 4th or 5th month, we're like at maybe 50 students, maybe 40, 50 students, and so if I asked him, hey, have you been paid? He like, oh no, I thought you had got paid. I go, no, I would have like, hey, here's your half, here's my half. And he was like, no, I thought maybe like he kind of like he didn't want to ask me, like he thought like maybe I needed the money, and he was like maybe he's gonna wait to give him my half. Like, no, I wouldn't do that. He goes, oh, I just assumed. But he was doing private, so he was still making money regardless because he has privates, and I wasn't doing privates back then. And so I was like, oh, like, well, I haven't got paid, dude. Like, this is all I'm doing. I'm running out of savings and stuff.
Right.
So let's make a meeting with the owner. Like, okay. So we made a meeting, and I will say right before this meeting, like right before this was happening, Octagon MMA. So they were about to open their gym, and they were actually like, they were thinking about taking their spot over. Like, man, I said honestly, like I told the guy, like, I don't know, like if you want to come here, because the guy hasn't like paid us or anything. He goes, oh, and he was like, well, he goes, it's who teaches us? And me and Ray. He goes, oh, I know Ray, because like I said, Ray had a good following. And then he goes, oh, okay, do you think you want to teach for me at my gym? I go, well, maybe. So I kind of like reconnected them, and then I went to go have the meeting with the guy, and they're like, oh, hey, just want to discuss payment. And he's like, what money? And I was like, whoa. So like my coach got mad. Like he could tell his face was all red. He got mad.
This is the gym owner.
This is the guy that owns the gym.
Right.
Imagine a 24-hour fitness, and you're having a meeting with 24-hour fitness owner, and this like, what money? Like he doesn't want to pay his coaches basically. And then we're like, whoa. So my coach looked like he wanted to punch her. Like he got infuriated. He goes, what money? Like, well, our students. He goes, so, that's my money. Kind of deal. Like, so we're like, oh damn. So we're like, what can we say? We didn't sign a contract. We're doing it on like word of mouth.
Right.
So we kind of got screwed there. So we ended up just like, damn, I can't believe that happened. Like, what can we do? We have no proof, you know?
Right.
So like the guy from the Octagon came, and he like, luckily Ray went to go teach over there. And then like after that day I'm driving, like I'm upset. My friend calls me, hey, are you teaching? I'm like, I'm not anymore. Like, I just like, I'm not going to teach anymore. Like, I don't know where to teach. He goes, oh, my friend just opened a gym in Oak Cliff. Like, you know, to be honest, like back in the day, I don't know if you're familiar with Dallas, but the Oak Cliff area wasn't that great.
Right. It was
not.
Okay. Yeah.
So I was kind of iffy about doing it. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't really want to be in Oak Cliff. He's like, no, it's a chill spot. Like, it's the first weight gym ever in Oak Cliff. Before Planet Fitness, before, I think they have 24-hour fitness now and some other gyms now, but there was none of that. And I was like, okay, let me go talk to him. So next day I went in, and as soon as I walked in, he already knew who I was. He goes, you're Chris? I'm like, yeah. He goes, oh, come here, I'll show you the room. And I was like, so that was already iffy, because like, damn, this guy just didn't pay me for not having the room. And then, so I'm like, should I take another chance and I get paid again? He goes, what were you thinking? Like, do you want to pay rent? How do you want to be partners? Or what? Like, and I was like, well, when I was over there, I did a split. And he was like, oh, we can do a split. And I go, I don't mind doing a split, but I want a contract. And he goes, okay, yeah, I'll do a contract. I have it ready for you tomorrow. If you want it, we'll get you going. So I did, and then we did the contract. And then that's when I opened that location off of Westmoreland and Davis.
Was it the same name, everything?
Yeah, it's still the same name. Yep. Yeah, it's still the same name. And then
so you worked at that other gym for no pay for that amount of time? How long was it?
Like 4 or 5 months. We didn't, no money. Like, I worked for free, basically.
Oh, wow.
So I think we were charging like $140 a month. And so imagine like 140 times like 40, 50 students for like 3 or 4 months. Like,
and he thought he could just get away with it?
Yeah, he did.
How close were you to having an altercation?
Well, I saw my coach. I think he was about to hit him more quicker than I was. So I had to like, let's just go, like, before we do something dumb and we end up in jail or something. It's
right.
Like that's assault, because we do martial arts.
Right.
Like, unless he's self-defense, like, you know, we can get in deep trouble for that.
Right, because the judge will say you're special.
You should know better.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And both of us like black belts in Taekwondo, and he was actually a professional kickboxing champion. So, but I was like, nah, it's just like, it kind of worked out. But
so this time, are you just a black belt in Taekwondo?
Yeah.
No jiu-jitsu yet, right?
Just the mission grappling, and then the MMA training, kickboxing training.
Okay.
Yeah. But so then I opened the gym, you know, and we only taught submission wrestling, and I taught karate for kids.
Okay.
And then I taught MMA for adults.
Okay. What year is this?
This is 2008 now.
Okay.
2008. So everything's going good, and then like my aunt actually calls me, hey, are you teaching kickboxing? I'm like, no, I don't want to teach kickboxing. So I was like, because Ray always taught kickboxing, and I always taught the MMA and the submission grappling. Mm-hmm. And then he was like, well, you should. And then I was like, I don't know. She goes, well, I got a lot of people that are interested. And I was like, okay, I'll try it. So I did, and the class actually grew like big. And it went really well for us there. And then the owner was like, he wanted to expand the gym, and he was going to get the site next to us. And I was like, I don't know if you should do that. Like, I mean, we're okay here. Like, we have our kickboxing students, we have our MMA students, and we have our karate students. Like, we have more than enough space. And he was like, and at that time, I had a boxing ring, and he asked me before, when I came, do you have a boxing ring or something? Like, yeah, but we couldn't put it there because it was like small. Like, oh, if you get the other side, you can put your ring, you can put more mats, you can hang up your punching bags. That'll be your side. And I was like, I don't know. And then like he like, okay, let's do it. And he ended up doing it. I said, okay. And then like it went good for a little bit.
Did he ask you to pay for that, though?
No, I didn't have to pay for that.
Okay.
I didn't have to pay for that. The landlord reconstructed the other side as part of the deal. Mm-hmm. So it was going good, and then like he had a decision. So like if you're a member at LA Fitness or 24 Hour Fitness, you go and you sign your contract, and it's like $30 a month, mm-hmm. and they can never raise your price, right, as long as you keep it active. I don't know why he did, but he's like, hey, I'm gonna raise everybody's rates. Like, I don't think you should do that because you're gonna lose people. Mm-hmm. Like, if you go to, like, I told him the same thing I just told you. If you go to here, they don't do that. He goes, oh, this is my gym, though. I'm like, dude, you shouldn't do that. Like, you're making good money right now. You're charging $25 a month just for the weights, and if they want to add MMA, it's another $80. Mm-hmm. So, like, you're doing good. And then he was like, no, I'm gonna raise the prices. So from $25 to like $40, so that's like a $15 increase. And like, you're only open from like 6 in the morning to like 10 at night. You have a lot. You're the only one who waits around here, but you know people are probably gonna want to drive those extra 10 minutes to get all access to all the other gyms. Right. With a shower and a sauna and all that. And sure enough, that's what happened. People stopped coming because he raised the rates. Like, right. And then I didn't raise my rates. I'm gonna keep mine the same. Like, I don't want to lose people. But he raised his, and so that's when he was like, man, we got this other side now, you know, that's your side. So I was thinking we do a swap. I like, what do you mean do a swap? You get 40%, I get 60%. Like, what? Like, that's not what the contract says. And like, he goes, nah, we're renegotiate. Like, nah, that's not what the contract says. So he goes, like, man, I think that's what we're gonna have to do if you want to keep teaching here. I'm like, nope, I guess I'm gone. But it's like one door always closed and one door opens. Like, I've been like fortunate. Like, you know, I've had my bad moments where like I didn't get paid, for example. Mm-hmm. The Richardson location where I didn't make no money. I lost a lot of money there. And then like this deal right here. And so like one of my friends was actually opening another MMA gym in Oak Cliff too, but on the other side, he goes, hey, I'm open the other side so it doesn't interfere with you. And then he kind of offered to buy me out. And I was like, nah, I'm okay right here. And so like right before you open, I think there was like, because he like 3 months before you open, he came to me. And then right before, like a month before you open, that's when that guy kind of like trying to screw me over. Right. I was like, so I called my friend, like, hey, can I still come over there? And he goes, yeah. I go, look, I'll kind of like cancel out Fusion MMA and we'll go under your name. But just, I want you to like buy me out. And so I told him how much I wanted, and he goes, he paid it. And then, so he pretty much acquired Fusion MMA, so it was kind of his now. Mm-hmm. And then, like, he didn't have to do this. Like, I gave him, like, I took all my students over there. They were technically his students now, but he did me a solid. He's like, look, I know you built this up. These are your students. They're just coming over here somewhere to train. I'll give you 30% of all your, like, all new students that come in, and then whatever's your students, we'll do 50-50. So he did me solid. Like, he did me good.
So whenever you're making these new studios, is it hard to bring people over to the new school? Was it difficult? Or?
It is, because it's like the distance changes. Like we went from Richardson to Coit, I lost a lot of people because the students that we did have, they were like right there on the Arapahoe, so it was like 5 minutes from them. And they didn't want to drive through that traffic down 75, so I lost quite a few. And then when I went from 635 to Oak Cliff, I think I only had like 5 people follow me, and the rest.
It's a completely different part of town.
Yeah, different part of town, and I think some of them went with Ray to Octagon. So I mean, and some of them just like stopped training. Period.
Right.
So it's always hard. It depends on the student and how much they love you as a coach and stuff. Because I've had students come train with me like from Waxahachie, from Haltom City, like
oh wow,
like far, like they drive far just to come train with me. Like I have like right now because we have the other Zero Dojo in Roar City, and like we go over there. Our students go over there, and vice versa. And sometimes their students come over here. So it's like I think it all depends how you treat your students. Like, and you know, if you're a good coach, they're gonna follow you. So since we're on one side of Oak Cliff and we're on the other side, I did lose a few people because some of those students would just walk to the gym, you know, because they didn't have cars and stuff. So we did lose quite a few. But so once I moved over there, I wanted to focus on jiu-jitsu. So I started training jiu-jitsu with my coach at the time, like full time, just like jiu-jitsu, like with the gi. Right. So now I'm training with the gi.
Are you're learning how to do jiu-jitsu?
Yeah. I'm learning
who's your coach? Or
his name, my coach at the time was Johnny Rodriguez, and he was my coach for the longest for jiu-jitsu up until like 2 years ago. Like 2 years ago.
So before this, you had no jiu-jitsu training?
No, not with the gi. I had no gi training.
Right.
Yeah, but this is my first time with the gi. So I did, I started training with him, then I'm teaching at this other gym now. And so I was like, do I want to be a coach? I want to focus on jiu-jitsu. I'm 30. I'm already 30 at this time.
Right.
So like, let me just focus on myself right now.
Right.
So kind of like, I bowed out. Like, hey, I'm not going to teach them. I'm going to focus on jiu-jitsu. And he told me, oh, that's cool. I understand. And he, so I started training full time. And then, so this was like in May. The Naga was coming up in September. So we got June, July, August. It's like three months to get ready.
What is Naga again?
The Naga is like one of the biggest grappling tournaments.
Oh, it's a tournament. Okay.
The tournament, yeah. Yep. I think it's one of the first ones. They've been around for like 20 plus years or something like that.
So you're going to enter this tournament?
Yeah, this is my first tournament with the gi.
Okay. How long have you been training right now?
3 months.
Okay.
3 months.
So are you a white belt at this
I'm
time?
a white belt at the time.
Okay.
Like I said, I knew no gi, and I knew like I already knew like right away you can't leg lock at all as a white belt. So there's most of my game right there. And so I'm like, my coach is training like, he goes, we worked a lot on takedowns, a lot on footwork, and just get into dominant positions for points. Because I had never done like focused on points. I always focused like try to get the sub. Right. So now this is different now. Sport jiu-jitsu is way different.
And you're doing this full time. You're saying you're not working. You're training all day.
I'm training like morning, and then I was working, but like I was training just jiu-jitsu. I wasn't like teaching anymore. Okay.
May I ask what you're doing as a job to support yourself at this time? Or
at that time? Oh yeah, I worked at SMU.
Okay.
Yeah, I was a research technician.
Okay.
I was there for like 19 years, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So I did that, but I mean, I've been fortunate again. Like, I guess life is, ups and downs. Like, 'cause I was fortunate enough to have a job that always worked around my schedule, and that allowed me to bring my children to work with me. Okay. So, like if I was going to take off to go train or something, they're like, okay, just like make sure everything's done kind of job. So a lot of times going to training. So like, this is my first time going to a tournament. And so I get to the tournament, and like, you see the people in your division, and like these guys have like 3 or 4 stripes. I have like 1. And I've only had the gi for 3 months. So I'm like, these guys are training at least a year and a half, 2 years with the gi. So I was nervous. And then first match starts, and then I'm just like, game plan, snap him down, take him down. And I submitted him like in a minute and a half.
What'd you use?
Armbar.
Okay.
Yeah. Armbar, and then I was like, and then the second match starts, and I'm just like, I think I armbarred him as well. And then like, I'm already in the finals, like, wow, I can't believe it. And like, the last guy I went, he was actually one of my childhood students. And he was, he had 4 stripes. And same thing, I took him down. He kept trying to rope, like I took him down, and then he tried to, like, flip me over once I was on top. And I did, like, I already kind of anticipated it. And I ended up taking his back, and I got the body triangle on him. And then he tapped to that. And then that was it. That was my first gold medal.
On your first tournament?
My first tournament with the gi. So I beat guys that were training for, like, way longer than me with the gi.
Right. So you're hooked.
Yeah, that was it. So actually, like, 3 months of training, I got my blue belt. He gave me my blue belt right there on the podium.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was like, whoa, I didn't expect that. Like, 3 months of training. I think that's one of the fastest to blue belt at that time. And then, at this point, it's already 2010, and the year finishes. I do like another tournament. What was it called? I don't even think they're around anymore. Something submission, grappling, something like that.
This is all here in Dallas, right?
That's here in Dallas, okay. Yeah. I do that tournament, but man, when I was cutting weight, I cut a lot of weight. I cut like 20 pounds for that tournament.
Wow.
And you know, when you rehydrate and you go eat, I guess I went to go eat some Chinese food, and I don't think I should eat something healthier. Right. I want Chinese. Like I worked too hard to cut this, and I think I just like upset my stomach, and I had a stomach virus. So I went to a tournament, and like I was puking and stuff. Like I didn't want to pull out. I spent all this money.
Yeah. So
I was like, my first match, I won barely, like by a point or something. Mm-hmm. But I was like, as soon as I finished, I ran to the restroom. Yep. And my second match, I just like I couldn't do it no more. Like I kind of gave up. My body just couldn't do it no more. The guy passed and he got full mount, and I just kind of gave him the Kimura, and I just like I was too weak. I couldn't do it. So I didn't even place at that tournament. And then 2011 rolled around, and then remember the guy that wanted the 60-40%?
Right.
So he ended up closing that gym, and then out of nowhere, he messaged me, "Hey man, how are you?" And he kind of like this is weird. So no more MySpace. It's already Facebook at that point, you know. So he messaged me on Facebook, and I'm like, "Well, this is kind of weird." Like seeing how things ended last time.
Yep.
And he was like, "I just opened another gym. It's smaller. It's just like." He was teaching like Zumba. You know what Zumba is?
Yep.
He was teaching Zumba. And then he had like a few weights for personal training. It was, you know, a lot of the parents have been asking for kids class. Like, you know, what do you think? Like, instead of paying me percentage, just pay me a flat rate. I was like, I don't know. So then like I talked to my coach, Johnny, and he was like, "Man, no, I shouldn't be with that jerk." Like I said, I don't know, I kind of want to teach. He's like, "Well, F it, just try it." And I did, and then, you know, it kind of worked out. And at this point, like, I was no longer using Fusion because, you know, kind of like gave up the rights. So I was trying to think of a cool name. And then American Top Team. I was like, that's a cool name. And then American Kickboxing Academy. I kind of like the Kickboxing Academy. So since I was in Oak Cliff Kickboxing Academy.
Oh, wow, okay.
So that's the name I used. And that was a great location. And it's just like...
And there's no business trouble with this guy anymore.
No, because I just paid him rent basically, like $1,000 a month for the rent.
Right, and then you kept your students and what they paid. Yeah.
Yep. So they paid me this time, and then that's new contract. Like this is the way it is. But then like I guess he still wanted to have like the bigger gym again. So like the same shopping strip, there was like a bigger place. And he was trying to get that place. And he goes, "If I get that place, we'll put the weights over there, and we'll do Zumba and martial arts over here." And that's what ended up happening. But I don't know, like it didn't go as well as he thought it was going to go. Because at this point, I think there's already like a Planet Fitness in the neighborhood, and like 24-hour fitness is like 15 minutes away. It's like I think there was 2 Planet Fitness, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, there was 2 Planet Fitness in Oak Cliff now. So they were charging $10 a month, and he's still trying to charge like $30. Like there's free weights, like it's quad racks and stuff like that. But people would rather go somewhere they have a shower, 24-hour access, stuff like that. So it didn't go as well. He was struggling, but we still had the studio. And then one day I show up to to the gym where we had the martial arts. And luckily I came for some reason I just came in the morning. Somebody said, go in the morning because I was going to go clean up. And there was like a sign that was locked out. We were locked out.
And he didn't tell you?
He didn't tell me.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
So the number was on there for the landlord. And I called him, told him the truth. I was like, hey, you don't know me, but I teach the martial arts in the studio with Mark. And he was like, and I go, I didn't know I've been paying him rent every month, to rent out space from him. And I didn't know that he was already on the verge of being locked out. Or else I would have done something myself. Mm-hmm. And he asked me, how much you paying him? And I said, $1,000 a month. Of course, that's how much the rent is. So I'm like, so what? Yeah. I was basically paying for his rent. He couldn't just $1,000 to pay that rent. But what he was doing was taking my money and trying to catch up the rent over there, which was $2,800 or something. Mm-hmm. So he was paying $1,000 here and $2,800 here, which is $38, almost $4,000, right? And he should have just I guess shut that down and just focus on business, but he didn't. So I talked to the landlord and I was like, hey, can I take over? You already locked them out. I got people coming today. I go, I'll pay you right now. I'll pay you $1,000. I'll pay you $2,000. And then he's like, you know what? You're honest with me. And I like that. He goes, just pay me the $1,000 and then I have to pay a down payment. He's the kind of person I want at my gym, my spot. So I say, oh, great. So I think his thing was in Waxahachie or something. So he came down, I paid him the money, and we switched the locks out. And then he goes, well, I'm going to give the other guy, to the end of the week to get stuff out. If he doesn't get it out, then it's yours. So literally, that guy came in that night, I guess, and after my classes, and he took all his crap out. Okay. I'm like, of course he did. So whatever. And then he ended up somehow managing to revive that one, and for a while that worked. And so I stayed there for a while. I was there since 2011, 12, 13, 14, 15, 5 years. Okay. That location. And
this is still a kickboxing academy, right?
So there's a thing about business that I learned a while back is you don't do business with family. You shouldn't do business with family. Or friends or anything like that. People because you can be good friends, you can be great family, but it doesn't mean you're gonna be good business partners together, right? And I had a family member and a friend that kept bugging me to buy in. Mm-hmm. And I was iffy, and I should listen to my gut. And so when I did, if I finally agreed, and I let my family member buy in first, and I made the contract, and the contract states everything they're supposed to help with, and everything they're supposed to do, and it wasn't done on their parts. But one of the things that they brought to me was let's change the name from Oak Cliff Kickboxing Academy to Oak Cliff Martial Arts. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. Oh, come on, they basically were saying everything we tell you to do, you don't do it. I'm like, no, why would I do that? Why do you want partners? I don't want partners. Y'all kept bugging me. That's why I let y'all come in. And then, so finally one of them was look, if I'm a client and I'm looking for a gym and I type in martial arts and I see Oak Cliff Kickboxing Academy, I think you only teach kickboxing. Mm-hmm. So, let's say I want to do jiu-jitsu, it doesn't say jiu-jitsu in the title. But if you put martial arts, then it can be anything. It can be kickboxing, it can be karate. So it made sense. So I ended up doing that. And we became Oak Cliff Martial Arts. I was still a blue belt at the time. So I stayed blue belt for 4 years. And then I think in 20...
So you're still training it all this time this is happening?
Yeah, so now I have my gym again, and I bring my coach to come teach at my gym. So I don't have to go pay a gym fee somewhere else because he's coming to me. So we just he comes over there, teaches twice a week, and then I get to still get ranked underneath him. And I'm still competing actively. Like, I think blue belt and purple belt were like my most active years as competitor. I was like, now I'm going to Oklahoma, now I'm going to Houston, now I'm going to San Antonio. I'm going to different places to do tournaments. Okay. So I'm not just staying in Dallas. And then I'm taking some of the guys from the gym with me too. We go to different places, and we just got to the point where we're doing tournaments, and they're like, they knew who I was already. Like, they knew, like, my guys are down for a scrap. So, hey, we need somebody to go against a 300-pounder. You got anybody? Like, I have a 160-pounder. And then, like, okay. And then my guy would do it, and my guy would win. And it just became like that. Like, they would always ask, like, do you want extra matches? We got guys that we didn't find people for. And most of the time, it would be, like, advanced guys, or it'd be, like, a bigger weight class. And, like, we go in there, we're like, we dominate. Like, we did pretty well. And most of my guys were like teenagers, so they were going against grown men. I threw them in there anyways. I didn't care. I just, like, I knew they could do one. And they always did. So, like, we for example, like, we signed up for 2 divisions. We expect to come back with 2 medals. Each of us coming back with like 4 or 5 medals each. That's how many divisions they were throwing us into, because we do it. Like, we just wanted to get our name out there. And so we're competing, we're winning. So now we got guys competing in MMA, jiu-jitsu, boxing, taekwondo. We have just, like, coaches for everything, and we're doing pretty well at everything. Like, jiu-jitsu mainly, jiu-jitsu and kickboxing. That's the ones we really excelled at. MMA was like, we had a few guys, but we didn't really, like, focus really hard on MMA. We just wanted to more on jiu-jitsu, because that's where our students were coming from. So finally got my purple belt in 2014. I was like, man, I've been a blue belt for like 4 years. Why does it take me so long? And so they finally gave me my purple, and then I was a purple for a long time too.
How long were you a purple belt for?
I got my brown in where?
2022?
2021?
Or 2022?
That wasn't last year.
Oh, no, 2021. It was 2021, the year before.
Yeah, 2021. I got my brown, so that was like 7 years.
So what are they doing every time they promote you? What are you doing? Are you taking a test, or are you winning a tournament, or?
Well, I never understood the way they ranked me, because honestly, I would see some guys get promoted faster than me, and I was like, I'm better than that guy. But I know one of the things he did say was like, you're not as consistent as you were before. And I was like, yeah, but when I come, I beat everybody up. No, but yeah, like, I always, like, as a purple, I think I did very well. I was, like, tapping out black belts, you know.
So you're also doing this, you're going to tournaments, and you're also teaching at the same time, right?
Teaching,
because you have your own studio now.
Because I have my own studio, yeah.
Yeah.
But so we're already here, and so let's go back to the 2 partners, right? And they're like, well, remember that guy I told you about that they wanted the bigger gym? So he didn't do well, so he moved his gym again somewhere else. And then, like, my 2 partners are like, hey, that spot's open. Like, let's move over there. Like, nah, I don't think we should do that. Like, our overhead's real low, our profit's really high. Like, well, let's move over there, because, like, then we can have 2 classes. You can teach kids class and adults class at the same time. Like, I don't know if that's a good idea, because then, like, there's no wall just to put a barrier between the 2 classes.
Right.
So if you have loud music going for the adults, the kids can't concentrate and stuff like that. But I gave in, and then, like, all the students, like, were saying that, oh, we're gonna come, we're gonna bring more people. Like, it never happens. And I learned in the business a long time ago, like, it's like when you start a business and you ask friends, hey, if I do this, will you come support? And they all say yes, but then only like 1 or 2 show up.
Right.
But it might have been like 100 that said yes, they'll show up, and only like 1 or 2 show up. And that's what ended up happening. So that rent was $2,800 by then, and like he gave us 3 months at the current rate, and we tried. I think I was already kind of like tired of like doing everything, and I was just like, I don't even care anymore. So when the rent was too much, and like we're losing students, like profits were real low, made the decision to like bow out, and we moved from that location to another, like to a warehouse. And that's where we finally went to, like, I mean, basically die, because, you know, we just lost too many students. And all the time I spent building it up for, at that point, 10 years, I was like, I felt like it was for nothing. And so then, like, my friend wanted to sell his part to somebody else, and it's another friend, so I let him know, hey, it's not going that great right now, but if you want to come in, you think and help us, then let's do it. So he was smart, the friend that was part of the business. He got out because he already saw us, like, and then my family member was like, we're not making any money, so he kind of like, he bowed out too, like, you know what, I'm done. And then so it was just me, and I was like, and at that point, like, I'm not really teaching as much anymore. I'm working like more. I got into the restaurant business, so I'm over there working at a restaurant, and I know the restaurant's going pretty good. I'm working for my friend. I get a lot of national headlines and stuff for the food we're making, and so I'm making more money there than the gym. So I'm like, finally, like, you know what, I'm gonna shut it down.
Okay.
But I was already doing personal training, and then they still wanted to train, they happened to be the owners of a restaurant that I started working for, and so they're like, hey, we'll pay you to go train us at LA Fitness. So okay, so that's what I did for the next year. I just did personal training, then I worked at the restaurant.
Okay.
So
how long did that last for?
A year.
Okay.
So
what did it make you feel like when you had to close the business?
Like I failed.
Okay.
Yeah, I just felt it was horrible. Like, this is something I always wanted to do, but I made some not smart business decisions, and then maybe allowing people to come in and just kind of taking away some of that leeway I had, like, or making me feel obligated to do it. And I didn't want to. But
did you feel like you needed a break from the whole thing?
I think I did need a break, because it was like, you know, you're trying to run the business full time, you're trying to work full time. You can't do both. You got to pick one or the other.
Right.
Or you're gonna fail at the other one, or not do as well in the other one. So I did that for a year. I didn't do anything, just a restaurant. And so the two brothers that I'm working for now, they have their restaurants. I became really cool, really close with one of them. And one day he's just like, I'm training him, and he goes, hey, what do you think about opening another gym? I'm like, nah, I'm good. No. So I'm still training jiu-jitsu at this time.
Right.
I'm still going to see my coach. I'm still going like 2 or 3 times a week to jiu-jitsu. I'm not competing as much, but I'm still training at least, you know, getting some rolls in.
Are you still a brown belt?
I'm not even a brown belt yet.
Okay.
I'm still purple.
Okay.
This is 2017, so early 2018. He's like, you should open another gym. Like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. Like, right now, everything I make from y'all is profit. He goes, oh, I bought a building. You should go check it out. Like, nah, I'm good. He goes, no, for real, go check it out. Like, nah, I'm good. Thank you very much. And he was like, okay, look, I'm going to start fixing it up. Just go look at it. I go, where is it? And no Cliff, nah, I'm good. And he was like, some of it look really, really nice. So one day my mom lives in Oak Cliffs, and I just happened to be like going to her house. And I remember it's off of Davis, the location. And I passed it at first, and I went back, and I passed it again. I'm like, I can't find this building. But there was like no lights or anything. It was like, it had been abandoned for like 15 years. And I finally found it. I called him, hey, what does it look like? He goes, oh, it's white, blah, blah. Red roof. And so I said, okay, I found it. So I get out, and like, it's like, it should have been condemned, in my opinion. So like the front door is like, it's like a regular door to a house. But it's like as soon as I open it, like the top part falls off. So it's like already falling apart. And I walk in, you just see like all these machines, all this wood, all this metal. So it used to be like a wood metal shop. Mm-hmm. I guess they make like cabinets and desks and all kinds of stuff, because they still have some of those machines and stuff there. But it had been empty so long that all the walls basically fell down. So you just like saw the siding from the outside. There was like no insulation. There was no sheetrock. Like the sheetrock that was left was like all falling apart already. The bathroom was like just a toilet in the middle of the floor, like no walls or nothing. And then the sink had fell down already. Like, oh, hell no. So, like, then the floors were all dusty and like grease or something. And so I was like, nah, I don't know. He goes, no, I'm going to clean it up. It's going to look good. And then, like, 2 months later, like, he goes, hey, the walls are up. Go check it out. I'm like, nah, I don't know. He goes, okay, if you don't want it, I know somebody that wants it. They're going to put Zumba there. And I was like,
is that the same guy?
No, it's a different guy.
Right.
It's a different. I don't know who it was. I just know that they approached him about having Zumba. And I was like, in my head, I'm like, F Zumba. Like, man, that's like, I was like, I think Zumba's a bunch of crap.
We're going to get some comments on this comment section.
Oh my God, I just like, after seeing it, like, person, like, man, everybody looks the same after like 5 years of doing this. So I was like, oh, please try something else. So I was like, nah, F Zumba. So I was just like, I went to go look at it. And I'm like, oh, you know what? At least the floors were clean. The walls were up. There was actually a ceiling now. And it was like, I was like, all right, let's do it. So I did it. And then.
Did you have to pay into it? Or did he just bring you on? Or?
No, he just like gave me really good on the rent. Like, he didn't charge me as much as he would of somebody else. And I was like,
so he owns the building, you pay rent to be there.
Yeah.
That's your deal. Okay.
Yeah. So, but it doesn't charge me as much because I still train him. Mm-hmm. So it kind of gives me like a discount.
Okay.
Like a big discount. So now I'm like, damn, what do I call the gym?
Right.
And
so how many gyms have you had at this point? It's
okay. Richardson, Coit.
Yep.
The first one on Westmoreland and Fort Worth Avenue. And then we moved to with my friend on Jefferson. And then the one on Keys, the small one, and then the big one, so 6. This is going to be number 7.
Right. And this is the first one that's yours. Completely.
Completely, yeah. I'm not renting from somebody else or anything like that.
Right. No partners, nothing.
No partners, no nothing.
Yep.
And so I go and I start thinking about a name. Like, I reached out to my old partners, and I'm like, hey, I'm up in the gym. I want to use the name. Is that cool? How much are you going to pay me? Like,
So they don't want to give up the name.
Then they want me to pay to use the name.
Right.
Like, okay, I mean, technically I'll bow down. So I didn't want to make a big deal. I was like, you know what? It's okay. Never mind. I'll figure something out. So I just started coming up with all this. Like, I was going to do like my last name, Ramirez Martial Arts. Mm-hmm. Like, man, nobody wants to learn from a Mexican. I'm just kidding.
There's a lot of, Hispanic, like, great jiu-jitsu guys. What are you talking about?
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. No, but I just feel like Ramirez in the Mexican neighborhood is like, that's too what's the word I'm looking for? I didn't want to do that. I was like now I don't like, people are like Ramirez, nah, whatever. I didn't want to do that. So, and then I was thinking about different names like Oak Cliff Academy of Jiu-Jitsu, and I just, all these names are going through my head. Like, man, like, I really like Oak Cliff Martial Arts. And I was kind of upset I can't use it no more. And then, like, I think I asked my mom, and I go, what do you think? Should I use my name? She goes, yeah, you should. Like, and then put your name out there more. Like, I ended up making shirts that say Ramirez Martial Arts, and I made some hoodies that say Ramirez Martial Arts. But I don't know. I wasn't confident with it. I don't know why. I wasn't. I wanted something that like more grabs the attention. So at this time, I'm training with my friend. Remember my partner, Coach Ray? Mm-hmm. And so he has a son named Mike Wright. And I met Mike in 2007, where me and Ray were teaching at a different gym. And, Mike is really cool. And he had his gym. And at that point, I think he's had it for like 5 or 6 years. And I just call him and I'm like, hey, how are you? And like, I'm gonna open another gym. He's like, oh yeah, you should, that'd be awesome. We can cross train. I wanted to ask you, like, how much would you charge me to franchise, like, use your name? And he was like, nothing. I'm like, what? Like, nothing. Like, no, for real. You want to use it? Go ahead.
What was the name again?
It's Zero Dojo.
Okay.
Zero Dojo. Like, nah, like, for real? And it's like, yeah. And then he was like, let me ask my wife first. And I was like, okay, I understand. And then, like, he calls me, like, 5 minutes, like, yes, let's do it. He goes, you know what? Now I can come out there, I can teach once a week, and we can get...
So he's not a partner. You're just using the name.
Yeah, well, I own mine. He owns his.
Okay.
So, yeah, so it's like...
So you have 2 gyms. But
we have 2 locations, yeah.
Okay, all right.
He has his, and I have mine. So he's Zero Dojo, like, original. And I put mine Zero Dojo Dallas.
Okay.
So, actually, it was Zero Dojo Oak Cliff at first. And, like, you know, remember I told you, like, Oak Cliff wasn't that great of an area? So when I started dating her, I was like, hey, she was like, why do you have Oak Cliff? I go, that's where I'm at. And she goes, yeah, but that kind of sounds like, you know, kind of ghetto a little bit, you know? And I was like, what should I call it, Zero Dojo Dallas? And she was like, that's actually better. So I was like, okay. So I ended up changing it to Zero Dojo Dallas. So it does sound better. Like, nothing against Oak Cliff. I'm from there. I grew up there and stuff. But professionally, it sounds better, Dallas.
Okay.
So...
and what year is this now?
This is 2018.
Okay.
So, man, like from the first time I opened my first gym to there, it's already been like 11, 12 years, right? So they changed a lot of rules and regulations for having a business in Dallas. And even recently, they changed them again. So when I went to the city to apply for my CO, they gave me like a list of what I can't and can't have. I was like, whoa.
What is this list like?
So it's like, no mechanic shops, no body shops, nothing about cars. So now you got to have parking for bikes. You used to not have to do that.
Right.
You got to have parking for bikes. You got to have, I don't remember everything, but those are the ones that stood out the most. Like, so I had to go buy a bike rack. And because the building had been empty for so long, I had to give them blueprints. So this is our extra money I didn't expect to spend. Like, damn, it's gonna wipe me clean because this is a lot of money to get those blueprints made. It's like $3,000, and then to have them approved, and the city doesn't approve them, you got to get them remade, and they charge you like another $500 or something like that. So I went through this list, and then I'm like, okay, so I had to go get the extinguisher. They wanted me to put fire exits. It used to be just one. Now they want me to have 2, like one at this door and one in the gym that say this is the way it is. Like, dude, it's only one entrance. Like, obviously that's the only way. But it was like they're just being anal about a lot of stuff. So I was supposed to open like mid 2018, and I didn't end up opening until like early 2019, like January.
How many students at first?
The first time was 36.
How'd you get them? Or did they just follow you?
Well, a lot of them were like came back and they advertised and stuff. Like a lot of them.
What kind of advertising are you doing?
At this point, I'm doing Instagram, Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah, Facebook, and then we did door-to-door flyers.
Okay.
I personally, me, a couple of friends went to go deliver those.
Okay.
Yeah. So the part. Or let me just get to it's an interesting story with the city. The first guy came, and you got to get your green tags, right?
What's the green tag?
The green tag is where they give you an okay to open. So you have like fire, you have building, and you have water.
Okay.
So the fire inspector came in. You're like, okay, you got your fire extinguisher, you got your 2 exits. Okay, good, green tag. The second one's the building, comes in and make sure there's nothing like falling down. Everything's good on the outside. Boom, green tag. The next one is the water, and that one was like the worst, like not the worst one, like the one that was like, he asked for the water heater. And I was like, oh, you have to have a water heater? And he was like, yeah, you got to have hot water. I'm like, it's not connected. It was like, it's on top, but it's not connected. Like, I told him not to connect it. I didn't know I needed it. So that means I got to get gas too and stuff. And he was like, well, I mean, unless you get an electrical one. Like, nah, it's a gas one. And I was like, crap. So now I have to pay all this money and stuff. So I just, like, something in the morning, like, told me, hey, hang up the banner on the wall. You know, and that's what I did. I hung up the banner on the wall. And he looked at the wall and he was like, Mike Wright. And I was like, huh? He goes, that's Mike's gym. Like, he goes, how do you know Mike? He goes, oh, it's like my partner. Like, this is our second location. He goes, promise me you get that fixed. And I go, yeah. Boom, pass. I was like, oh, just because, man. Just because of the name.
Yeah.
Like, that's, he goes, I was like, how do you know Mike? He goes, I used to train with him for a long time. I'm like, oh, my God. He goes, man, just get that fixed and like, don't make me come back here. So I was like, I got it fixed, but I didn't like that. At that moment, I was like, man, it's going to prolong the opening. And that was already like longer than I thought to open up. But no, I did the first official class, and then I had I think 40 people showed up. Mm-hmm. And of those, 36 signed up. Okay. So, and then ever since then, it's just it did really well. This is pre-COVID. And we're getting a lot of students. I have morning class, early morning, 6. I have a 8 o'clock class, and then I have a 10 o'clock class in the morning. Then we come back in the evening, we have 4 classes, 2 kids, 2 adults.
What happened to you in COVID time?
So during COVID, I don't know about y'all, but it was coronavirus first. Remember, that's what they were calling it? And they had all the memes with the corona beers, coronavirus. Yeah, I have it too with the beers and stuff. And then I'm like, man, this sounds pretty serious. Yeah. And then I'm like, everybody's making fun of it. I didn't know what it was. And so finally, I guess they started hitting over here, end of 2019. People were catching it, but they didn't know what it was. People would get strep tests, flu tests. There was no test for it. And it turned out the symptoms were the same as COVID. And so I guess February 2020, that's when they started, we're talking about shutdowns and stuff like that. And I'm like, crap, if I shut down, what am I going to do? I have 120 students. And
so you grew from 40 to 120.
Yeah.
Wow.
In a year. Yeah. And business was good. And then March came along, we're shutting down. So I try to do the live, Facebook, training stuff. I did that a couple times. I didn't like it. I'm like, no, I can't do this. I look like a fool. It's over here punching and stuff by myself, do this, do squats, without having somebody there with me. So I ended up just having cancel everybody's memberships, so no more money from the gym.
How long did that last for?
I think it was the end of May when they finally allowed us 25% or 30% people back. And sure enough, once we opened, 9 people came back.
Oh, wow. 9 from 120.
Yeah, 9 people came back.
Okay.
And they stayed like that for 8 months. No more than 12 people.
How are you paying rent at this time?
I had savings. Mm-hmm. And I was actually my boss is he came to me, he's like, hey, I know there's, first he was like, hey, I'm not going to charge you rent for a few months.
This is the guy who has the other gym?
No, this is the guy that owns the restaurant.
Yeah.
The restaurant, the building. He's like, hey, I know this is whatever. I'm not going to charge you rent until they figured out what they're going to do with the COVID. Right. And he's just train me for free, and then we'll call it even. Right. So I would say, sure. Yeah, okay. Because either way, if you shut the gym down, the stuff's just gonna sit here. Yeah. I'm not gonna do nothing with it for 3 years. So he's gonna have. I think maybe 2 more years that location, then he's gonna tear it down. So he's gonna open another another shopping center, and he's gonna. I guess he's gonna ask me to move over there, but that's 2 years from now. So that kind of helped a lot. So basically just money to cover expenses bills and then just me and the family and stuff like that. But if you're used to making X amount of dollars and now you're making minus X amount of dollars, right. It kind of kicks your butt,
So when you reopen, how long did it take to get back to somewhat normal? I guess.
So we opened, and then I only did 1 kid, 1 adult class. So let's say for example, Monday and Wednesday I had kids kickboxing, adult kickboxing. Tuesday and Thursday I had kids jiu-jitsu, adult jiu-jitsu. And then Friday and Saturday we were closed because we didn't have enough people. It makes no sense to pay coaches to be there. There's only 9 people. So I ended up having to cause I know people are going to come back. They were still kind of scared. People are still wearing masks to the stores and stuff at this time. So no, like then I want to come to the gym. Like there's more chance of catching it.
Mm-hmm.
So finally, I think like the following year, like January, that's when Greg Abbott's like, we're gonna go back to like 100% or something. So that's when more people started coming back.
Were you doing more advertising or?
Yeah,
wrestling?
once that happened, like once they gave us like 100% back towards, even I think it was 75%. Like I started like advertising more, and we started getting more people again, and we started growing again. And I think we got up to like 50 students, which is 50 is maintainable. You can make a little profit off of that.
Okay.
So, just there's a lot of factors like at that time the gym didn't have like good installation. I didn't have a unit like an AC unit and stuff like that. So if it was cold, it was cold. If it was hot, it was hot.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Especially in Texas. Yeah.
Especially in Texas. So this is already like 21, right? So in 22, I got the unit. I got the mini split. So then I got like more fans and stuff like that, and more heaters. So it helped a lot. And we put insulation on the top. So that really helped a lot. And then the summer, because of the heat, before I did all that, a lot of parents wouldn't want to keep their kids there because it'd be too hot. So it's understandable. So I lost a lot of students in the summer. Then the fall comes back around, we pick back up, and we get some good numbers. And then like right now it's like this is what we call dead time. So November, December it drops a lot. So it's like right now we went from like we had quite a few. I think we're down to like almost half of that now.
Okay.
So
are you back to the 120?
Nah, I never. I think the most we got to this year was like 80.
80. Okay.
80 or 84, something like that.
Okay.
So
by this time though, you on a personal level, are you still training jiu-jitsu?
Oh yeah,
you have your brown belt. And
I got my brown belt in 2021. Yeah, 2021.
Was there a test or something they put you through, or
no? It was just. I don't think like. I think the only time I had to take a test was when I did Taekwondo, just kind of like show you techniques. But I don't think with jiu-jitsu, I think your coaches like see that you're rolling well, you're moving well, and you're doing everything good. So I got my brown belt in 2021, and technically it's supposed to be like a year or two after that you get your black belt.
Right.
So I just felt like it was time for me to get a different coach.
Right.
So we ended up at the other Zero Dojo. He ended up hiring another coach, like Coach Matt. He's a 4th degree black belt. Really good. He's a smaller guy. So the jiu-jitsu he does is more usable for me. Like it's more like my style. So I decided just to be under him and under Coach Mike, which he owns Little Zero. And then like I started just like I talked to him like, hey, I'm gonna be under y'all. I'm not gonna be under Johnny no more. That we can just be all under the same banner in Zero Dojo.
Right.
And then I got my black belt this year.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh wow! Congrats.
Thanks.
That's awesome.
So it took me 2008, 18, 19, 20, 15 years.
15 years.
15
Wow.
years to get black belt.
But considering all the stuff you went through, that's pretty good. I mean,
yeah,
it's not like you're just focusing on jiu-jitsu the whole time, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's some times in life where life hits, and I kind of like take a month or two off, and then like I went through whatever I was going through, and then I just kind of bounced back. Like, what am I doing? Get back in there. But I think if I went to take like those breaks here and there, or if I would just like focus just on jiu-jitsu, it would have been done a whole lot sooner.
Right.
But I wanted to coach and focus on my fighters.
So before we started talking, you mentioned you had gone up to New York and rolled with John Danaher and
I took classes with
So
Danaher.
how did that happen? Tell us about that.
Well, I saw Gordon, like I didn't see him but like in person, but I saw when he went against I didn't even know who he was until he beat Kenny Cornelius. In the Abu Dhabi, like, whoa. I mean, I was a big Kenny Cornelius fan.
Right.
And I've met him several times at the tournaments and stuff.
Right. He's the squid guard guy, right?
The warm guy?
With the warm guy.
Yeah,
warm
yeah.
guard. With the gi, right?
Yeah, with the gi.
Yeah.
And he's really cool. So just backstory real quick on this. So he has a stepdad named Tom Callows, who
Kenny does.
Kenan, yeah. Who happens to be Tom Callows. He moved to Hawaii like years ago, and he introduced jiu-jitsu to BJ Penn.
Okay.
So Tom Callows introduced him, and then he brought him to California, and that's how BJ Penn ended up blowing up.
Mm-hmm.
But his dad, Tom Callows, was the one that got BJ Penn to jiu-jitsu. His stepdad. And then when I used to have my little show, my Fight Game Radio, I brought him on. Tom Callows.
How'd you meet him?
On Facebook.
Okay. You just kind of reached out to him? Or?
I kind of reached out to him, like, because I already knew who he was. BJ Penn always talked about him.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, Tom is always like, anytime somebody asks him a question, he'd respond. I'm like, oh, so I started talking to him. And he used to have this thing called the 100 or something like that, where he helps gyms, like grow. Mm-hmm. And that's part of that. And that's kind of how I met him.
Okay.
But, yeah, but I had him on there, so I think that was pretty cool. I think that's why I kind of, like Kenan a lot, because I knew, like, I have his dad's number, like his stepdad's number and stuff. There, I felt like, okay, he's pretty cool too. So when I saw Gordon Ryan beat Cornelius, I was like, whoa, what the hell just happened? Like, I didn't know who Gordon Ryan was, and then, I jumped on the bandwagon. I was like, I'm gonna go train with that guy one day. And I used to be a referee for New Breed Jiu-Jitsu, and I got to travel a lot. I went to like 24, 26 different cities. And I went to New York, and I didn't get to see much, but what I did see, I liked. And that's when I knew Renzo Gracie was there and Marcelo Garcia was there. And like, man, I'm going to come back and I'm going to go train at their gyms. So I went to Marcelo's first one day, and then the next day I went to the Blue Basement. And man, there was like so many people there, like at least 80 to 100 people on the mats for one class. And then, like, you never know who the coach is going to be until the coach gets there. And the first time I went, John was there.
John Danaher. Right?
John Danaher. Yeah. And like, I saw him in the corner, like, oh, he's going to teach. That's cool.
Are you allowed to just walk into the class?
Yeah, I just did a day pass. I did a day pass.
So you just pay a fee and you walk in.
You pay in and walk in. So like, I went in, and then like there he is, like, oh my God. So I was like, where's Gordon? And then, but I remember, I think he was like somewhere else out of town, but. And then he walks in, like, oh, and I heard him talking to, I think, this is when Nicky Rodriguez was still there.
Right.
Nicky Rodriguez was there.
Before the breakup, yeah.
Before the breakup, yeah. And then I just saw him, like, walk in. He's like, oh, I thought you were going to make it. He goes, oh, we just got in early this morning. And I'm like, oh, so it was pretty cool. So John's class, that's the first time I did his class. I did his class two different times I went. That was the first time. We worked on back attacks and stuff like that. And it's just like, he's so knowledgeable the way he teaches. Like, he'll
What's
talk.
his style like?
Man, I can't really explain his style, but he's very technical.
Okay.
Like, he explains each detail to the T. He's like, well, you're gonna put your foot here, and because if you don't do this, then this happens. Like, and I learned a lot. Like, I wish we were allowed to record. Mm-hmm. Maybe but you weren't. So. But he taught some cool stuff in the back. And then, like, they started open rolling. Like, in hindsight, I could have went to Robert Gordon, but I didn't. I was kind of intimidated. But everybody else was kind of, like, trying to get with him. And, there used to be another guy named Felipe or something, Ortiz. He was part of the original crew.
Okay.
He's like a brown belt. I got to roll with him. He was pretty good. I'm still a purple belt this time. So after class, like, I guess like everybody's that's a member there, they're already used to seeing them, so they're not starstruck like me. So I just kind of sit there and I play dumb, and I see Gordon and Nikki and Dan here like talking. They're just like going over techniques and what was going on in class, stuff like that. And then John's like showing me, like, I'm just watching, like, for 2 hours, I'm just watching him row. And, I'm watching Gordon like a student, like, asking all these questions, like, whoa, he's like me, but he's actually a student. He actually wants to, like, get better at everything. Mm-hmm. And I just, like, after they were finished, like, I was like, hey, can I get a picture? And, like, yeah, cool. So I got a picture of him. I got a picture of John. And that was the first time. And then the second time I went, same thing. They were there, and they were going over leg locks. And, like, I didn't roll him either. I kind of just like watched him roll, and then I was just like, nah, he'll smoke me. But yeah, John gives a good class. Like I like it. I've been telling myself I'm gonna go to Austin to train with him, but I just haven't had the time.
Right.
So,
right.
but it was like so intimidating, just like watching him in person. He's big too. He's a big guy.
Do you take some of his teaching style, I guess, or
Dan here's?
Yeah.
Yeah. What he taught me, I brought it back and
Okay.
taught to like everybody liked it.
Right.
Like, both times, and the last time I went to New York, they were already here. But
Right.
I still went to Blue Basement because I like going there. There's good coaches there regardless.
Right. Right.
So.
So where do you see Zero Dojo going forward? What do you want to do? Or
I do want us to grow, and I do have competitors. I have guys that do Muay Thai, and I do have a professional MMA fighter as well.
Okay.
Who's actually fighting in February for XKO here in Dallas.
So you do everything: jiu-jitsu, MMA, Muay Thai, kickboxing.
I have to do everything. I mean, I have a coaching staff, but when it's time for fight night, it's usually just me there.
Okay.
And then like if maybe one of the other coaches if they can make it, because they still have full-time jobs too and stuff, And but the good thing about us is like, if I can't make it for a reason, something comes up, then one of the other fighters will like they'll go coach. Like
Right.
like we got each other's back. Like we just hopefully just continue to grow and get more guys to compete and stuff. I do have you ever heard of Karate Combat? No. Boss Routine?
Yes.
So
Yep.
Boss Routine and GSP, they're part of that. They kind of promote it. It's kind of like
Is it like combat jiu-jitsu? Because I've seen that.
no, it's kind of like a square.
Uh-huh.
They go in there in the square, right?
Wait,
And-
is it the sides are kind of
Yeah,
angled?
angled,
Yeah, I've seen that. Okay.
Yeah, they allow like they do MMA gloves, no shin guards. They can do sweeps, they can do takedowns. If you got on the floor, they give you like 5 seconds to pound them on the floor, and then they get you back up. So it's like semi MMA, but I have a guy that fights in there too, and he's gonna be fighting.
So you coach the guy that fights in these leagues?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay, that is awesome. Yeah.
So I've had coaches. I have coached like a lot of guys in different stuff. So, and I don't think I'm gonna stop anytime soon. So
Awesome. I think that's a great story, man. I think this is a good time to wrap it up. But before we go, do you want to say anything about the gym?
I do
Give a little shout out, and we'll end it there, I guess. Yeah.
Shout out to God first, for blessing me. Actually, like recently, just gave myself to God. Like I got baptized this year. Me and Liz together.
Nice, very nice.
So I used to always be like, I don't know. I had this love-hate relationship, and now just like I see things differently. But we got baptized together, so I think she was part of that. So, and then of course my kiddos. Hello, kiddos.
Awesome.
All of y'all, and my friends at the dojo and stuff. But if you listen to this podcast right now, if you say you heard us on this podcast, we'll do a 2-for-1 special for you at the dojo. Buy 1 month, get your second month free.
Awesome. Well, I think we'll end it there. Chris, thanks again.
Thank you.
I love your story, and best of luck to you, man.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.